Hi guys, finally a Brexit benefit. Oh wait, it's gone again. So leaving the European Union wasn't about taking back control of borders, because that wasn't something that the UK couldn't do. And considering few checks are being carried out to protect both British producers and consumers, it isn't actually happening. It was about freedom, not the William Wallace type, but the liberty over how wine can be sold. What the heck are you talking about, I hear you say? So one of the promises the headbangers made post-Brexit was that EU laws inherited as part of membership over imperial measurements where they would be printed alongside metric ones were to be dropped. However, the government have now climbed down over this, following pressure from manufacturers who complained that this would add extra cost with no real benefit. But wait, there is still a Brexit benefit of sort. Have a listen.
I don't quite understand what the benefit of a pint-sized bottle will be, because you already can have a half a bottle of wine, which is a pretty similar size. I guess that sort of sums up the debate here of how much we really need these different measures.
I think you're spot on, Wilfred. At the end of the day, I think many people will actually think, well, why do we need a pint of wine when you can already buy, for instance, a smaller bottle, a 500ml bottle? There are already different options available. But the government is saying this is all about offering consumers even more choice, even more freedom when it comes to their wine, their sparkling wine choices. So, interestingly, as you were explaining, this kind of almost kind of climb down, backing away from potential plans, only potential plans, to maybe kind of reinvigorate the imperial measures that were once used in the UK. And since joining the EU, the metric system took over. Now, we know that traders can still nonetheless put imperial measures on their products, but nonetheless it has to go alongside metric measures, and it cannot be more prominent than the metric measurement. Now, for someone who actually never really learned imperial measures, I genuinely wouldn't have a clue of half the kind of ounces and pounds and pints of things. So for me personally, this would be an absolute nightmare. But what's really interesting is the government really trying to say, actually, this is a benefit of Brexit. There's a Brexit freedom to be able to have a pint of wine. It'd be interesting what the French would say about a pint of wine. I think they would probably be quite alarmed. Quelle horreur, as they would say. But interestingly, Kevin Hollenrake, who is a trade minister, I'm going to read you a little quote from him. He says it's all about innovation, it's all about freedom, it's all about choice. And he goes on to say this could boost the economy. The government is saying that about 900 British vineyards could benefit. But is this really going to have a massive impact on the economy when we've seen actually downgraded forecasts of GDP? It's a lot more tricky land ahead for Rishi Sunak, even if this might seem like a nice small boost.
But even if you want a pint of wine, you can still achieve it with today's bottles. It's the glass that matters for that, unless you want to go straight from the bottle with a straw, which I guess is also possible.
No, it's not possible. You do not drink wine from a bottle with a straw. Okay. Oh my goodness. So the trade minister is saying that this would boost the economy. So on the one side you have barriers to trade, which are, according to the to official figures, about a drop in 4% of GDP. But on the other side, you can now sell wine only. This only applies to wine in pint bottles. And this is a boost to the economy because it creates more choice. But 99% of producers have rejected this. They don't want to go down this road. This is just more insanity. Once again, an attempt to pander to a small section of society who still think Brexit was a good idea. And what section of society is that? It must be an older generation, because I think most people under the age of 50 didn't learn imperial measurements at school. They learned metric. So you're talking about a small section of society and an older section of society who the Tories are trying to pander to. Now, this doesn't boost the economy. It adds extra cost to manufacturing, because if you want to produce these wine bottles, and remember, this is for the UK only, so this wine could not be exported into the EU. I don't think it could be, because it wouldn't be sold. Well, maybe it could be sold, maybe it could be exported, but I don't see a market for it. But it's an extra cost for manufacturing, because you have to create a new line, new labeling, new bottle sizes. would this, I don't know whether other like containers for this would have to be changed. Shelves on supermarkets would have to be changed. I don't know. But it would be an extra cost for what real benefit? There is no real benefit here. It's a political benefit, maybe. It's the optics of we're taking back control. But there's no benefit for the businesses. There's just a political benefit for Brexiteers and the Conservative government. See, we've taken back control. We haven't taken back control of our borders where we're not actually checking goods coming in, which would be more important. No, we're allowing wine producers to sell in pint bottles. But as was pointed out in this report, the current legislation where metric needs to be front and centre remains. So there's no real Brexit benefit here at all. There never was. And once again, we're going to have to wait around for the Tories to come up with some other Brexit benefit. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.